Welcome back to Seii Watches RTA. Nah, whatever. I just thought I would do this on a weekly base and I had more content for this, but actually for some reason RTA is too dynamic to talk about like in the videos that much, but we'll try to do. Also, didn't get that many response. I got one whole response. Well, that's an infinite times more than 0, but that's not really what I expected as well. So I had to go through like a couple of replays myself, prepared a couple of replays to just talk over that kind of stuff. Also, I kind of wanted to talk over Japanese cleave and that kind of stuff. And then I was searching for people that were actually Japanese cleaving, and there was barely anyone Japanese cleaving anymore. So leave in the comments if you actually want me to talk about Japanese cleaving, but I think it's pretty much dying out. It's a dying breed, the Japanese cleave. So again, I'll put the link to this in the description down below. Let's look at our first response. Well, the only response. Yes. Also for this series, it's not being watched that much. So please, if you like this stuff, put it like... So please, if you want to see more of the RTA videos, like this video, comment, all that kind of stuff. So it at least helps me out with that. Maybe you get like a bit less views on it. I don't mind, but at least it kind of like gets pushed up by the algorithm because of the likes and the comments and that kind of stuff. And you help me as well by motivating me to make more videos like this, because actually, if something is just not watched that much, also my motivation drops to make like future videos of that. So in that case, just like, comment, whatever, that kind of stuff, and it helped me out a whole bunch. Thank you. So yeah, we have about one response from Zek Text there. Really thank you a lot. So what do we have? So this is the best way to probably like give it. So we have a Sierra first pick, which is pretty common as a first pick. Vanessa is a really good response on that. A Fran as well, but you could actually opt to go like straight, like if there's a Sierra, you kind of can go like straight like Vanessa Okeanos, because Okeanos currently in current meta especially is a really good unit. It's one of the best units actually, because of just his multi-hit with good artifacts and that kind of stuff. Like even Okeanos into full immunity team can deal a lot of damage. So actually here I would kind of recommend to not go Fran yet, but just go like Okeanos and Vanessa, and that would change like this whole match. But let's see what it happens here. Vert and Josephine. The issue is with Vert. Vert is actually hard counted by Okeanos. Like Vert is kind of counted to Chiwu. Vert is kind of counter to, or is not really a counter to Sierra. Sierra counters Vert. Okeanos counters Vert. Josephine, however, kind of counters Sierra. No, not really. Josephine does counter Ganny by a lot, yes. So then he goes Ganymede and to Barbara. That's a really good, like, he has a pretty solid draft. Like by draft, I would say you would have lost. Let's see what's the ban. So give you guys a few seconds. What do you guys think is the ban? So what I think is the ban, I would say Chiwu is the ban, because Chiwu into Okeanos is probably really deadly. Also Chiwu into Barbara Ganny is really deadly. Like with Chiwu plus something, like Chiwu, like either these three or these three, gonna insta kill something if you leave it through. So I think Chiwu is the main game play unit of this team. On his side, however, I would probably opt to... I wouldn't be too afraid of the Vertiheal. I wouldn't be too afraid of this one because you can reset it. Probably keep Okeanos in, because if you don't keep Okeanos in, Josephine is pretty useless. And Felicia, I think it's called Felicia or Valeria or something like that. I don't really see this unit too often. I don't think it's that much of a threat. So I think he would ban I think he would ban the Fran. Let's see what we have. We have a Vertiheal ban and a Barbara ban. Barbara ban is not bad as well, but you are kind of open. This combination with the three of them is really deadly. The reason for that is actually you walked into the best ban that he kind of expected, because Barbara is banned, but it's actually a main counter on these two units and not as much on the rest. It was still a reasonable counter, but it's not that much of a counter. In the end, I don't think this last pick is all too great. So what could you pick otherwise for this last pick? Well, you're pretty much like locked in a difficult draft already. You're pretty locked in a difficult draft. If you would go like, let's say you have a Triana and your Triana is Will. I think this will only work with a Will Triana. You could ban out the Chiwu, put in a Will Triana here. You have like multiple units to sustain and that kind of stuff. That's a pretty decent setup for like a draft, because he can strip 2 units. If you have multiple units on will, he can't strip everything, and he's kind of down to that. He well, the issue is he has 2 single target strippers, which is kind of difficult as well. But if you have like 3 units he kind of has to strip that are on will, then it's pretty good against those teams, like if you get rid of their main unit. So you actually have most units on will. In this case, that reset is good. That reset, totally good. Sierra, who's he gonna bomb? Wait, he resets this and he reset that. Those are both good choices, but actually I would have opted. Does he actually explode it? No, that's a bad call as well. You don't have to explode it. Like, if you reset this, you know you're gonna lap with the Okeanos as well. Okeanos stun is very likely. Plus, if you Sierra as one, you probably lap this one as well. If you proc once in either this turn or the next, he would have a double bomb. So I think that's a useless way of going. Plus, he never resetted the finesse. Also, his Okeanos is really weak because it barely does any damage. Okeanos S3, like what we've seen here, it does like 250 something, like on this one 700, like 203 like damage. That's absolutely nothing. Okeanos should be doing like at least like close to 1k just by artifacts, especially if you have like a speed lead. So he's switching targets, instantly going for another bomb explode. It is possible he kind of, wait, did he ventilate? Did he ventilate Sierra? I think he ventilated Sierra, right? That's a rookie mistake if he did. Wait, how does Sierra have another bomb up and another explode? I'm confused. So he does that, yes. He has once, yes. He ventilates Sierra, yes. So he does actually ventilate Sierra. I wouldn't, like in Genny Okeanos, you never want to ventilate Sierra. It's absolutely a waste. You want to save your S3s most of the time. It's pretty like not that high quality, but whatever. Is it because of me? But in general, for his side, you don't never want to, like in this team, if he had like continually like reset Okeanos, he could have done so much more. Also, he's wasting like his bombs like left, right, center. Also, that's a waste. He should have reset Chiwu by now. If the Chiwu was actually reset, then this thing would have actually permanently died. Missing that is pretty like, it can totally happen. And yeah, if this one was already dead. So he made a lot of misplays on, like, that's the thing. Genny in general is a lot of like macro plays. Like you like it's a lot of plays like within the match itself. So it's like the micro plays that you actually have to like, okay, what do you reset? What do you what do you reset on their side? What do you reset on your side? That kind of stuff. So, and this guy he's using his S3 too much. Okay, that's a lucky proc though. That's really a lucky proc because that Sierra is... I would have killed the Sierra there, to be honest. Because leaving any unit with that low HP, if you would have procced here, you would have been done. You would have been absolutely done. And because you just procced before, there's a really high likely chance that he would actually proc. I get the idea that you kind of want to kill it with Vanessa, which in this case worked out. But I would have killed it with Josephine for sure. And you're getting like a nice session of procs up in this building right now. Also for this, I would have killed Chiwu first. Because if you don't kill the Chiwu first, you like Ganymede 1v1 is never gonna win. Your finesse actually does a lot of damage, or the Chiwu is actually really weak. But you kind of want to delete threats. And that's an issue I've seen with like more like low rank players, I guess. Is analyzing the threat plus just killing something, just make it a 3v4. It really increases your amount of wins that you're potentially gonna get by a lot. So that's my take on this match. What could you have drafted instead of Felicia? I don't even know what their name is. If you have a rune good, it's actually not that bad of a pick. However, I probably would have opted to ban out the Chiwu, because Chiwu is like, for just the start of the match, is kind of the playmaker. Later in the match, if it actually goes to a bruiser match, then banning out the Barbara is maybe not too bad. But you also kind of won because he was playing around with like Sierra bombs, like exploding it for no reason, no resets on the Okeanos and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's it for the match. So highly appreciated to Zach Dexter for this video. So I have a few videos of my own as well that I just want to talk through. Let's see what we have. So we got an Okeanos first pick. Okeanos first pick is pretty good at the moment. It's actually one of the more legit first picks. Really good unit. It works into a lot of stuff. Then we respond with Sierra Hathor. Sierra Hathor is kind of okay if he's a main Hathor player, but actually Sierra Gani would be better because Okeanos plus Hathor is not really that great into like mollies and that kind of stuff. Okeanos plus Gani, however, is pretty good into that kind of stuff. So you kind of like, Sierra's a really good first pick. Hathor currently is actually not that great of a pick early on. So he actually goes Chiwu into Changi Pangi, as we call it in the guild, which is really solid to draft. He responded with Molly Juno, which I think is a pretty bad response because neither of them actually does really good into those 3 units. Like sure, you have your overall like healing whatever, but it doesn't do too much. Juno again also doesn't do too much. You're just pushing back attack bars, that kind of stuff. So sure, Juno is a reasonable pick, but Molly actually not that much. You could go like, that's the thing, if you see like a Changpong plus a Chiwu, which is a really common draft right now, you have 2 options. Either you just go straight out speed, or you just go like full on into like kind of passes and you try to go like around that way. Going full on into passive, so like Vertihill, Triple Revenge, that kind of stuff is pretty risky, and it's most likely gonna get you a 50-50 win and not that much more. And like that's just what I've noticed from like using Vert, like Triple Revenge Vert myself as well. It's pretty much just a 50-50 if you actually get the stuff you want. So let's see what he continues with. Asima and Dover. So yeah, that's a pretty heavy draft because this into not having any speed contested, that's the main thing. Like if you have these 3 units and he doesn't contest anything in your speed, he doesn't contest anything in cleansing or anything like that, you're just free to go like 2 full-on damage dealers and you're gonna win. You're probably gonna win. Vert, Triple Revenge Vert is a decent option against this. However, I feel like if you would just like ban out the Hathor, then these 4 units are not gonna do too much into this. Also, if you ban out the Chiwu, or if you ban out the Vertihill, then these units have pretty much a free reign as well. So let's think for the bans. For the bans, I would say on this side, you kind of like, normally I would like to like split the Chiwu Changpong because Changpong S2 is a really inconsistent strip. However, probably only this unit is on will, this unit is on will, and these 3 are not. So you don't really have to strip that much with this team. So actually leaving both strippers in is a decent option. Probably you have to ban out the Asima, but I think this guy already lost. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this guy probably already lost. Simply because the Molly is not gonna do too much. He's probably barely gonna take a turn. You could ban like the Vert, but even if you don't ban the Vert, Okeanos and Dover still pretty hard counter the Vert. And if you ban out the Hathor, then this team, like these 4 units are barely gonna be able to kill anything of this, especially, well, if it's will, you can like strip into bomb, but even then, most of the time, Dover and Asima, especially Asima, is just highly tanky and it still does like a lot of damage. So what are the bans? We got a Juno ban and an Asima ban, which is interesting, I think, the Juno, because the Juno, okay, Juno's a hard counter to Asima, but you kind of can expect Asima to be banned anyways. So I don't think Juno is the biggest issue. Also, Juno can be killed by just these 3 units, and as one of Dover actually does quite a lot of damage. So yeah, let's see how this match pans out. So we have first turn, of course, on the Chiwu. You kind of have to S3. The thing is also, let's say Vert would have countered. So let's say Vert would have countered. What would have happened? Vert would have countered. Hathor would have taken a turn, yes. Sierra would not even have taken a turn. So Hathor would have been able to strip, like probably he would have been able to sleep, let's say Changpong or Dover. Then you would have still had these 2 units actually hitting something. So having this team on will actually count, like even if Vert would have countered, it wouldn't have done too much because of the pushback of, well, no, wait, if he would have countered, both units would have moved. So Molly could have stripped something, but it's kind of a 50-50. And then, yeah, you had like 1 hit into a bomb, but you still have like 2, like he has to control 3 units, and he has by most the option to control 2. Yeah, I would say 2, but probably just 1. So therefore, even if this would have counted, it would have been like pretty bad. Also, Changpeng is often not on Swift. So if you would ban out the Chiwu, he would miss speed lead. He would like if he actually had a stripper on his side, if he actually contested the draft rather than just being a passive waiter for the draft, because this is just a passive receiver of the draft. If he would have actually been like a contesting draft, then Changpeng is the only speed lead. Chiwu is the only speed lead. Changpeng is on Despair. It's mostly Vio, Despair, or whatever. It's mostly not Swift. So also an Okeanos would probably be slower than the Changpeng. So these units would be all relatively slow compared to the Chiwu. If he doesn't contest the speed or anything, then the Chiwu ban, or he doesn't have to fear like a Chiwu ban, because he's still gonna outspeed anyways. If he actually contested the speed, banned the Chiwu, he couldn't have picked both Dover and Asuma. So that's just a mindset of like, are you gonna contest the draft in speed, or are you just, well, he actually has counter, so he's probably gonna be angry that he didn't counter. Well, it's a 45% chance you don't counter all the time. You're just betting yourself to win on a 45% chance. Well, technically there were two 45% chances, but the one of those was without with 0 attack bar, so it wouldn't have made any difference in the whole match itself. Anyways, so another interesting one, we got Skit against Doromon. Doromon is actually one of the SWCA qualifier players as well for one of the Asian regions. I think it's him. Could be wrong, but I think it's him. So what do we have for draft? So we have a Molly first pick. Okay. Which is actually pretty good into Skid, because Skid does the same. Skid replies with a Sierra Ganymede, which is a really good pick into Molly in general. Then we have a friend plus Yan Hong, which is a decent solution into those two. I think it's just like his general picks. Then we have an Acroma and a Leo. I do kind of like the Leo in some way, because I feel like there's not too much damage on this side. Like, technically, if you have these 5 units and anything he would ban, you already have like 100,000 times more sustain than it, because, well, an infinite amount of times more, because this has 0 sustain. You can always ban the 5th unit. 5th unit here, Laika, is actually a pretty good pick, but I would expect it to be banned out. Laika into all of these units is actually a pretty solid pick, like totally solid pick. Like into Molly, that kind of stuff is pretty solid. Also into Acroma, pretty solid. So issue is this is a lot of sustain, and he doesn't contest like the sustain or anything. Even though like these 4 picks are pretty good into these 3 relatively, but most of the time if you see a Molly, you kind of want to contest like at least being like a little bit of sustaining, because if you go 0 sustain into a Molly, you're probably gonna have an issue. So let's say he would, like, you have these 3 units, he has Gani plus Sierra, which are good picks. Let's say he would pick Vigor plus Okeanos here. Then these 3 units are like as hard countered as they are right now, but he doesn't have that much options to go like super like ham on like the same thing in this draft. Also, Vigor, a little bit of sustain. Vigor is pretty good into the Molly. It has a heal block, so all 3 of the units are counted by that. Also, you do quite a lot of damage. Okeanos, of course, can reset that kind of stuff. So these 3 units plus, or these 2 units plus a Vigor plus Okeanos would have probably been way better into this draft, and it wouldn't have enabled him, like, if you would still go Acroma plus this, and you have like Vigor and that kind of stuff. Actually, this is a pretty interesting combination, because your Yan Hong is not going to do that much damage because of Leo, but he's actually able to do that, to have that little damage, because he has 0 sustain in the whole team. If he had just a Vigor here, these 5 units would have never killed a Vigor. And then his 5th unit could have been like another sustain, and then these units would have never killed this team. The moment one Sierra bomb goes up, this team is dead. So that's the thing, like that's kind of the mindset of the draft that I have here. So okay, didn't really look at the bans, but already said Laika's probably the ban, and here Acroma's probably, like Acroma is the ban. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best ban, because Acroma's maybe difficult to kill for these units, sure. But you lack that much, you have that little sustain that I feel like Iskid already lost the draft here, to be honest. But I feel like killing getting rid of the Leo in this case would have given him more options to just like either just armor break, stun, whatever, anything, do damage, lap, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's how I feel like. So let's see how it actually pans out. Also, this is way more sustained, like in general, whatever he does. So we have the one going first, glancing hit. Yeah, that's about a 50-50, so that doesn't matter all too much. Okay, we have a pushback. Yes. So it looks a little bit favorable for Skit, but I don't think it looks favorable for Skit that much at all, because he's actually smart to not bomb it. Well, okay, that's a heavy bomb. That's a heavy bomb, but yeah, he procs out once. Yeah, you're pretty much done for. You're already done for. Like, you blew away like your best potential already. Another heal of Molly. Double resist. That double resist is pretty bad, actually. Like, if that was not resisted, he could have had a decent shot at killing him. But the thing is, the moment they proc once, you're so far behind. That's just the thing. Also, Skit's Sierra is probably doing damage on speed, artifact damage on speed. And there's not too, or maybe attack, because the attack is half. And therefore, like, the Sierra did that little damage. So that was actually, like, that's the thing. You kind of have to think of, like, if there's just one or two, like, procs throughout, you're probably gonna lose right away. And one or two procs are gonna happen throughout the match, of course, always. So then we have a match of Charge, which is Guilty of Mine, and Friend First Pick. I'm not too big a fan of, but it's an option. Friend First Pick, if it's good rune, it's an option. Sierra, Ragdoll, first two picks is a really good response into like pretty much anything. Then we have a Ganymede Barbara, which I think is a really good, like, solid, like, draft into this. Yes, totally. Barbara doesn't really counter Sierra that much, but Sierra's that all-round of a unity. Like, you could go Okeanos here, but Okeanos kind of countered by Ragdoll. Also, they kind of counter each other, but I like this. Then we have a Leo plus an Artemil, which I think this is really looking a solid-looking draft. So here you have to be smart. So what do? He goes for this. He goes for double bomber. So he knows anything that comes as fifth, he can ban out. And these units are probably gonna die to double bomber. Like, most likely gonna die to double bomber. What does he respond? He responds with an Eladrio. Why would you respond with an Eladrio on this? The fuck is Eladrio? You got reset, double bomber, double boosted bomber. So this is a fucking boosted bomb. Get a cleanser, get anything. I don't care. Like, use anything useful. Also, because of Ragdoll, you're gonna lose all of your will runes no matter what. What is this team gonna do against double bombers? Like, you needed something that can handle double bombers. Like, legit, if he would have brought a Juno here, and he would have banned the Barbara, those bombers and everything are probably not gonna kill the Juno that easily. But that's not the case. And then also the Juno would probably be banned, because those 4 units cannot handle, like, the double bomber. So this really locks you in. It's no supports. Like, okay, technically there's 3 support units, but there's no immunity, there's no cleanses, there's no nothing. Bringing double bomber into this is freaking smart, and it's so, unless you're hard RNG, it's so gonna win. So he bans one of the bombers, makes sense. He bans the Leo because he's not afraid of Artemil. He could be a little bit afraid of Artemil if the Ganymede was maybe banned, but not really. Leo, you kind of, like, you don't really want to keep Leo, Ragdoll in the same team most of the time, like, especially these 3. They're like, you're not gonna bruiser them, but this is not a bruiser. This is a slow cleave. This is legit like a slow cleave. He's getting his ass cleaved. So how does this match work out? Well, there's only 1 unit on will, which is also highly, like, usual with Ragdolls, and Artemils are, it's about, like, I would say 40-60 if they're will or not, 40% that they are, 60% that they're not, maybe even more. He can reset that, he can give a boost, and he can give a bomb. So they're spamming, like, they're spamming stuff all over the place pretty much with the emotes. But in the end, it's a really, like, also nice rotation for that. Nice rotation, not going for the reset on the bombs, because these units probably would kill Malaka before he comes up if he was not, like, properly protected. So I like this move of, like, just resetting the immunity and that kind of stuff. And also there's probably a lot of damage on this Malaka. It's pretty easy to get a lot of damage, like 30k. Nice. You have a boosted bomb, it does so much damage. And also that, easily that, easily that, easily that. That one he could revive. I think it was reset anyways, but easy win. So those are the kind of matches it was just pretty much won by draft already, like, straight up. So straight up by this draft, it's pretty much already won, and that's kind of what you want to aim for by drafting, like, in general in RTA. So that's it for this video. I think it's way too long. I have to edit out a lot of stuff probably. Just to keep it shorter, I kind of want to keep these videos like somewhere in the like 20-25 minutes range. This time I was just going over like a whole bunch of drafts. I didn't have like a main focus of a draft. Next video I probably want to do in like first picks and last picks. So what are good first picks, what are good last picks, when are they good? And this is kind of like what are good last picks. This is a solid like example of like good last picks. So it doesn't even have to be on the 5th pick, but you can go for the 4th and the 5th pick. They're pretty much just checkmate. This is straight up a checkmate draft against this. You're gonna straight up win. If you haven't yet, like this video if you made it all the way through. And thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next one.